Analysis paralysis is killing your dreams. How many times have you thought to yourself, I'll get started once I have all the information, or once I do all the research, then I'll start? I've been where you are, constantly reading and researching and watching, thinking I'm being productive. But the more you prepare, the more paralyzed you become, never actually taking the steps you need to take. Let's dive into conquering information overload and why when you don't know much, that's the sign of true progress. As someone who just graduated highest honors in a pretty nice school, high school, I definitely understand what it's like to be overloaded with information, but it's not necessarily a bad thing in certain contexts. And of course, I'm talking about the context of school. You need to study, right? I needed to seriously load myself up with information about a completely new language in my senior year, Greek, that I had never interacted with before, maybe aside from a few Bible translations here and there. I needed that. I need to overload myself with all the calculus knowledge that I had to glean in order to be successful at it. And it was a very difficult subject. Information overload, or loading yourself up with a lot of information rather, is necessary in certain contexts. But I fear that when we come out of an environment that necessitates it and that you have to pour yourself into studying and studying and studying, because really that is the majority of where the work is done, and you just execute in a short test or a few hours worth of a quiz every week, we come out of that environment where that's no longer necessary, and we transition to the world where action is the really thing that's necessary. Action is what's demanded, and if you just stay stuck in loading yourself up with informing yourself about a topic, information, then you're going to be stuck and go nowhere. So I'm going to give you another three things that information overload does to you and how it negatively impacts you. The first thing information overload does to you is it gives you paralysis by preparation. I talked about this kind of the stuff briefly in my video on October 25th, so you should go check that out, about needing to feel prepared and adequate enough to dive into something while all the while you're just staying stuck and not moving forward. And again, slow motion is better than no motion. So just start, but go watch that video later after this video. Analysis paralysis is the term that's commonly used when talking about this sort of stuff. But the the paralysis in that is that you're paralyzed by not knowing what to do. Again, coming from an environment where and maybe for you young people, you can relate, coming from an environment where, there's only one true way to solve a problem in school. There's only one true way to derivate something and complete a derivation or a derivative, of whatever function, dx, all those types of stuff. There's only one specific way that it has to be done, and that you have to get to 16 over 3 or 12 root 2 or whatever the answer is. Now we come out here in the regular world, and there's a myriad of ways you can arrive at something. The problem with analysis paralysis and information overload paralyzing you with preparation is that there's so many ways to do stuff. There's so many ways these days to, if we want to generalize to the highest degree, make money online. You can trade, you can drop ship, you can make content like the one I'm putting out right now and be monetized on a certain platform. You can have an affiliate link and make money through, by being an affiliate of somebody else. There's so many different ways to make money. Even if you want to specify it to the stock market and trading, there are so many ways to make money out there. You can do the foreign exchange market, the futures market, or the regular New York Stock Exchange and US stock market with options or regular stocks or covered calls. You see, there's so much that you can do in just one specific thing, and that thing is like the stock market. It's just like there's so many ways to arrive at 2. If you have 1 and 1, you add them. If you have 2 and 1, you multiply them. Even if you have 2 and 1, you can just divide them. 2 divided by 1 is 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. There's so much that you have available, yet you just need to pick one thing. Don't be paralyzed by preparation. Just stick with one route and embrace failure. Sometimes we prepare because we don't want to fail. We want to get it right the first time. I touched on a Mark Cuban quote where he said that you should go through 100 no's. You should go through as many no's as you want. You just need one yes. You should go through, of course, not wasting your time, but you should go through as many methods to achieve something as possible. You should go through as many of them, as many formats of content creation, as many lengths of videos, as many different thumbnails, and see what doesn't work, see what doesn't work, see what doesn't work, because it's all about what does work, right? Don't allow information overload to paralyze you in perpetual preparation. Just choose one thing. If it fails, move on to the next thing, but don't stay stagnant. The second thing information overload does to you is it throws you into a perfectionism pitfall. Briefly talked about it in the last point. You feel like you need to do everything right. And don't get me wrong, this does not eliminate the need for stuff like mentors or listening to the advice of people who have gone ahead of you or gone where you want to go and are going to save you with certain tips a long time in failures and overcoming adversity and all that. That is still essential. But sometimes we want to get it too perfect. We want to cross the T perfectly. We want to dot the I to a literal 360th degree. That's not how life works. Sometimes our own experience is the best experience. Again, not advocating for the elimination of mentors and listening to people who've gone where you've gone before. But at a certain point, you need to take what they say and start doing it. All right? Because the point of their advice is not for you to understand and say, okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, wow. That's really eye-opening. You can't sit there and muddle muddle over it or whatever the term is and ponder it and think over it forever. You have to actually do. I mean, it's cliche, but Nike's slogan is just do it for a reason, isn't it? So if perfectionism pitfall is just us wanting everything to be perfect in our heads, and that's actually the biggest problem. In our heads is how we envision things and how we want things. And that doesn't take away from the very real thing about manifestation and planning out how you want things to go in your own mind, but you actually have to apply it. You actually have to put it out there. You actually have to do that which you foresee in your mind, do that which you project, forecast, envision, plan out. You actually have to apply that in real life, IRL. So don't allow yourself to be stuck in that pitfall of perfectionism. So just do it. And yeah, there's nothing like actually applying the advice that you've been given. And even if that advice doesn't work from that one mentor that you find online or that one person speaking into your life, there's a myriad of different ways to achieve something, as I said. So just say, okay, this didn't really work for me. I'm gonna choose this thing right here. Okay, this is interesting. This got me a little bit of progress. Now what does this person say about this thing on the journey? Okay, he says this. I'm gonna start applying it right away. And that's all it takes, right away action, so that you can eventually just get momentum so you can get the results you desire. So don't allow information overload to put you in a perfectionism pitfall. The third thing that information overload does to you is it has you planning without progress. And of course, this entire video is about how your progress is stalled when you get stuck in a cycle of information overload. But here's where true progress is found. Of course, planning is how we think we want our lives to go out, or how we think a certain course of action is going to go out, and that's essential. But again, when it becomes too much, when you're getting advice from all these different people and all these different sources, as I said in number one, you're paralyzed because of it, and you don't know which one to take because they all look so good, and everyone who's taken this route is successful, and this guy who took this route is successful, and that girl who took this route is super successful. So which one do I do? But the true progress is found in the not knowing. And I think Iman Gadzhi, who's, I guess some believe he's one of the great talkers in the manosphere, some believe he's the worst scam artist out there. He had a very eye-opening video when it was just him talking in his car, when he talked about how when you don't know, that's a sign of progress. When you are unaware of how something is going to go, that's where the true progress is.
That feeling of, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't have this figured out. That is the number one telltale sign that you're doing something right in life.
I talked about it in my video on October 25th. That's where you end up learning more, in the not knowing. What you don't know, as you do what you don't know, or as you do and don't know what's ahead, that's where you start to become clearer on what's ahead. As a matter of fact, you can just liken it to being at the beginning of a tunnel. The light at the end is very far out, but because you don't start, you see that, oh, I can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel, or I don't know where it's gonna lead up, or I don't know where it's gonna lead me. You only do that by actually starting the car and hitting the accelerator and starting to drive. So love the not knowing, love the unknown, love just being free to do whatever it is that you want to do to change your life, And in that not knowing, in that phase of I have no idea-ness, you are going to find something, you are going to find that way, you are going to find people along the way who are also with you and who are also of that not knowing, and maybe their perspectives can open your eyes, and you can all of a sudden get a sudden jolt of inspiration and jolt of energy to keep pursuing that which you desire the most. So love the not knowing, embrace the unknown, and in the unknown, you're just going to start to find a lot of things that you didn't know you could even realize when you're at the beginning of the tunnel. Remember to subscribe if you're getting value out of this video, and leave a like on the video as well. But one other thing I want to give you all is something very practical that you're using right now, that we all use every day, and how to manage it in conjunction with analysis paralysis or information overload, and that is your algorithms. Your algorithms and you are definitely the result of some of the analysis paralysis and information overload and stuckness in the same place that you're experiencing. Of course, there is a whole, if you go on Instagram Reels and maybe, your feed is about things of success and self-improvement, it's very good that, first of all, I want to congratulate you and celebrate you that not only are you watching this video at this point, this deep into it, but that even your algorithms are filled with this kind of stuff, and even stuff on Instagram, stuff on even Twitter or Threads or TikTok, that you're actively working on consuming that type of content. I want to celebrate you for that. Now, if you're here, you're probably here because you want to learn about how to break free from analysis paralysis, control your algorithms. You have app limits, you have the ability to say show less, you have the ability to toggle what is shown to you. And if that's becoming a problem, which if you're on this video probably has, just do that. Instagram has the option for 30, 45 hour, 2-hour app limits. Even if it's just one rung less, look at your screen times. Instagram shows you your screen time. I don't know if YouTube does, but if you have an Apple device, you can definitely see your app times or website times. Just do one rung below. Let's say you're spending an hour and a half on YouTube every day. Just set an app limit for an hour and 15. Just slow steps. I talked about in my habits video, which you should check out after this video. Just small steps and ease into it. You don't need to cut it off by a whole hour to 30 minutes a day, but start to control your usage of those apps with those algorithms. And then as for the actual algorithms themselves, just click the 3 dots on both Instagram and YouTube. Twitter, I assume, works the same way, and TikTok as well. It says not interested in this type of content, or show less, or do not recommend. And YouTube is going to act accordingly and say, got it, we'll stop showing you these kinds of videos. Even if it's the YouTube Shorts shelf on desktop, something that I've done regularly is the YouTube Shorts shelf usually shows up on the home page. I just click that little X button on the top right because I don't want to become a short form content consumer like that, just scrolling and swiping through. And guess what YouTube does? They remove the Shorts shelf for 30 days. So unfortunately, on the mobile apps, you can't remove the Shorts button, or you can't remove the Explore tab on Instagram, so that you can end up scrolling through reels and reels and reels and shorts and shorts and shorts. But again, that's how app limits help. But just control your algorithms, toggle your own algorithms, toggle your experience, and just implement those habits that ease you into a life that is more focused on the things that you want, and in doing the things that you want to do, actually starting it, so that your social media doesn't end up controlling you, and that you take back control over it. Be sure to comment below how you plan to tackle information overload today, or how some of your own habits that you've incorporated in the past have helped you tackle information overload in your own life. Be sure to like the video and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at my name as well, and I'll see you in the next video.